Yo, welcome back to another video. If you clicked here, you read the title. Today we're doing a little, I want to say guide on the Falcor. I don't think I've been playing long enough to say I can like confidently make guides. However, I think I hit like the 200 hour mark, so I don't think I can say I'm a new player anymore, sadly. So I don't know how to go about it, but the Falcor is the melee weapon I've been using the most lately, especially because Wisp Prime has been like my go-to character or my go-to frame. So I'm gonna tell you guys how I've been building it, using it, what's fun about it for me, and yeah, this is, I guess I should preface, the Falcor, let me go over here. The Falcor's main thing is going to be melee influence, just because similar to how the Zorus, when it explodes, it force procs electricity. But for the Falcor, it doesn't need to explode or be detonated like the Zorus. So that's why you can build it, where's that thing at? On a bounce build. Because what ends up happening is, since it bounces around and it explodes every bounce, it force procs electricity really well. So that's why we're running melee influence here. Little side note there, say I were to mod it with, let me put this here too. Say I were to mod it with like any of the elements here, like do this and this for some viral, and then we'll throw this in for like radiation. It'll still, I know like it turned my electricity into the radiation, but it'll still force proc the electricity and then also proc this stuff as well. So like, you don't need to go electricity only. However, I will say for melee influence, typically, just because if you put it on like a weapon that can build crit, you're gonna want to only run electricity, just so like for whatever status chance you have, you're procking more electricity. But for something that gets force proc, I think you should be okay. But we'll get into that like after this. But anyways, so the Falcor, instead of a detonate build, you run it as a rebound build, force proc electricity. So that's why melee influence is kind of the best for it right now. You could run it as a detonate build with volatile quick return, but then I don't know. I feel like you might as well run the Zorus in that case, just because for the explosion range, it's a little bit bigger on the Zorus. I think it starts off at 9 meter like base. So now this one just goes up to 9 meters. Yeah, I was gonna start off with like my electric crit build. However, because there is a Riven in it, and I know a lot of people don't have Rivens, I don't want to just like start off like that. So this will be kind of it here. If you don't have a Riven for the Falcor, that's totally fine. This build is so much fun, like such an insane amount of fun, running high status. So you're force proccing electricity, and because I'm over 100% status, I have pretty good odds to putting like at least one, maybe two of these procs as well, or maybe even procking more electricity. So this is just like a really fun, that's why I call it SCD, just like multiple statuses with melee influence build. Kind of difficult, or not difficult, kind of different from like your standard melee influence build, just because you typically build like weeping wounds, and then because you're building combo, you put on blood rush, galvanized steel, and then galvanized element. None of that. The only thing here that's expensive, I would say, is probably vicious frost. But if you don't have vicious frost, like you can run just like this bronze mod here. No, not status duration. I don't know. There's a mod somewhere that just gives status a chance, I think. Oh yeah, here, melee prowess. Jesus. You could just run this for the extra status chance, and then you'll end up even getting more. And then just run Northwind, like 60% gold. It's not the biggest deal in the world, and then save up for vicious frost or whatever. But I think that is like the most expensive mod out of all of these. Everything here is like relatively cheap. I'm pretty sure melee elementalist is cheap, so I will just call this a budget build. But this thing does immense amounts of damage, so much fun, and it's just easy to use. So you're just running as much 60/60 mods as you can. I'm running Northwind because I had this 4 mod for my Riven. You could run anything else here, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, like if you want to boost your corrosive damage a little bit more, if you want to boost like the base electricity from the force proccing, you could throw that in here too. Like, not the biggest deal. Yeah, whatever you want. Just what I would make sure to run is condition overload, because you do have high status chance and you are force proccing electricity. So maybe not on initial bounce, but I think the few bounces after that, you'll definitely be proccing this at least twice, maybe 3 times or whatever. And that's about it. For Whirlwind in the Excellent slot, it's very like, I don't know how to explain it, like subjective to whether or not you use this. The Azores does have good throw speed already, or projectile speed, so you don't necessarily need it. However, projectile speed for, at least for, I keep calling it the Zores, at least for the Falcor, helps with like how far you could throw it. And I think that's how it works for all glaives. But because the Falcor has innate homing, if you max this out, it gets a little weird, I'll be honest with you guys. I do have one maxed out, and there's times where, because it goes so fast, I just throw it and it goes like right past the enemy. So before, if you get this mod, or if you have it, before you max it out, build the build, use it, see how you feel about it. And if you want, because the thing that's really nice about projectile speed is how fast it comes back to you, and I kind of value that. But again, like, it's super subjective. I'm going to show like some gameplay footage where I kind of use the Falcor as like, I don't know how to explain it, like a very fast offhand while I use my primary weapon. So I'm just like, I'm throwing it out there and then I'm blasting with my guns. It comes back, I throw it back out there again. So that's why also this like budget STD status chance build with melee influence is really good, because if you're running, say, a primary, I think most primary weapons at this point are running galvanized aptitude. This almost acts like a primer, because you have such good status chance, and melee influence will force the other statuses onto the enemies, especially as it bounces around. It's a really good primer, kind of. It's a different playstyle, like you got to get used to it for sure, but like once I got into the flow of things, I'm just like, I'm throwing, I'm blasting, I'm throwing, I'm blasting, I jump around, I'm throwing, I'm blasting. It's great. Big reason why I wanted to use the Falcor too is because it keeps you in the air. And for Wisp's passive, where does that? She's invisible while she's in the air. But yeah. Also, if you watched like my Wisp build video, I think I made a change there, but I can go over that really quickly after this. So yeah, this would be my budget build, just pure status. Make sure you have melee influence, and yeah, super cheap, super easy to run. For stance, it honestly doesn't matter. Like, don't worry about it. The core of the build is volatile rebound for more bouncing, and not more bouncing, but like detonating on bounce, and then enhancing your force proc, as much status chance as you can get, condition overload. And I'm running melee elementalist because of the heavy attack wind-up speed. I will say, like, you have a couple options. If this feels a little too slow for you, because sometimes it does for me, you can throw in Amalgam Organ Shatter. I know it has crit damage, but like, you're not really going to be using it on this pure status build. You could also run, let me see if this is cheaper. No, they're about the same. Yeah, you could run Killing Blow. Like, either of these you could use on this build, sub out any of these things. I would say maybe, probably I would sub out Northwind if I wanted more wind up here. Yeah, just like see how you feel about it. I find that like melee elementalist is a little slow, but it's a lot better than having no wind up speed at all. You can also like totally throw in, I think there's a aura mod for your Warframe, but then you're just wasting a whole thing. I kind of want this weapon to function like independently. I can use it on any frame I want. So yeah, this would be the super easy budget build. I hope you guys enjoy it. Test it out. Let me know what you think about it. So on the main build itself, I'm running my Riven, which has 116% crit damage, 200% or 207% crit chance. There also is heavy attack efficiency. So like theoretically, I could actually run this as a detonate build. But I think you cap out at 90% anyways on efficiency. So like that's 5% over. And I would want something like Galvanized Reflex, which already gives heavy attack efficiency. So there's too much efficiency that it's inefficient for me to run that build basically. There's 46 rolls on this thing because I don't know, I really like this weapon. So I've been trying to get like double crit and status chance would be like super ideal. But the thing is, this build here is actually so good because low-key building combo on this thing is kind of a drag, especially if you do like good initial damage. Like enemies die, the combo duration is not that long. You could definitely sub in like something like Drifting Contact. If you do, I would probably put it in maybe Galvanized Steel. You lose a little bit, you lose a good chunk of DPS that way, but you do also get status chance out of it and like pretty decent QOL if that stuff matters to you. But this build is so good, I wanted to try and get status chance on it without losing the 2 crits just so I can still maintain this build. I think I might just pick up a separate Riven and roll as high of a status chance and an element as I can and throw it on here. Like this thing is actually insane. You'll be like seeing in the video, like it's nuts. Like I'm just clearing, and the homing on this weapon is so good. Like you can just, if you were to imagine yourself like kind of like playing pool almost, where you bounce it off of the wall or the side and you want to angle it a certain way, it functions like the same. So if you like look down a hallway and you know there's enemies to the left of that hallway, you angle it properly, it'll go down there. The homing does help a little bit. Not so much that you can just like kind of throw it and it'll do anything you want, but still really, really good. I feel like I went on a tangent. Right, I want a Riven for this, but we'll see what happens. So I'm running a crit build here. The Zorus base has 12% crit chance, which is like super cheeks, which is why if you look it up, a lot of people say like a crit Riven is good. Some people run, if you want to run a crit build and you don't have the crit Riven, I think what you should do is probably use Sacrificial Steel here to give 220%. Yeah, I would throw in Sac Steel, and then can I keep Sac Steel and Galvanized Steel? No, you can't. Yeah, I would have to throw in Sac Steel here because it would just give a lot more crit chance. But honestly, like because this base status build with no Rivens and like relatively cheap stuff is so good, I would just run this. Like if you really want to commit to the Falcor, like start with this, see how you feel, see if you like the weapon and the playstyle, try to pick up a Riven for cheap. I got this for like 15, which is really nice. Obviously I didn't get it at this roll. I don't even think anyone's gonna want to buy this because the Falcor is just like so slept on. But yeah, try this first, and then if you like it, go here. If you want to just try out a crit build, I would say Sac Steel might be the way to go. And then because I haven't built into that, I'm not sure if Sacrificial Pressure would be better than Condition Overload still. But I find that I know typically for like a crit melee influence build, Prime Pressure Point is kind of the way to go. Something about how Condition Overload feels is it just feels better and stronger. And I also do always have my Jariga on, and I basically just have him as like a mass status proccing primer. So like I do often get multiple procs of this. Yeah, so Sac Steel, Sac Pressure, or Prime Pressure Point if you don't have a primer running around with you. And then because we're running crit, I can now run Amalgam Organ Shatter, which is super great, because this, I would say you don't need 3 heavy attack windup mods. 2 is definitely enough, and it feels great. Sounds kind of weird, but yeah. So now I'm making use of the crit damage, and because it is a bounce build, it is easier to build combo than say a detonate build. So running Blood Rush obviously to get more crit chance, and then Voltaic Strike just for a little bit more electricity. I think if I wanted to push this build further, I would Forma this, and then throw in probably just Shocking Touch, because I don't really need, because like my status chance is 54%, I don't really need that extra 15. Like, it's not doing too much for me. I would probably just throw on, hey, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, my build is screwed. Never mind. I would probably just throw on Shocking Touch for more electricity. You can definitely try out maybe like even Primed Fever Strike might be a 6/6/6 slot to throw in there. That might actually be crazy, because then you could proc Corrosive a bunch of times and you still are forcing electricity. And Corrosive is really great. Actually, maybe I'll... No. I'll play test it. If I end up liking the Corrosive a little bit more, I'll throw it on. But just on the off chance I can proc more electricity on hits outside of my force procking, just melee influence will activate more and more, which is like, yeah, very standard build. And that's about it. Combo, crit, status damage. I don't think this does too much for me right here, but it helps with like the shocking damage over time, and then the heavy attack wind up speed. Yeah, that's it for this build. Start off with this. If you like the weapon, yo, get yourself a Riven. And if you're rolling the Riven, honestly, if you roll something like 100+ status chance, because the base status chance on this weapon is 34%, which is really, really good. If you roll something like over 100% and an element, I would keep that over a crit. And then if you roll like 100 status chance and 2 elements, 100% just use that. If you still want to full send a crit build, pick up a new Riven, because I think that would be like way better. I think I'm gonna get another Falcor Riven and try to roll high status and high elemental damage. You can't roll heavy attack windup on it, sadly. Otherwise, like, I think the premium roll would have been heavy attack windup, status chance, and maybe an element, but like those two on their own would have been super insane. Yeah. And then really quick, I'm gonna go over how you can like boost the damage for this externally, just because like, especially for the combo build, it does take a little bit of ramping. It can feel kind of weak at first. Honestly, it doesn't really feel too weak, but it can for sure if you're not like critting enough. For the status build, it feels strong off rip. I'll be honest with you guys. This thing shreds. This thing doesn't really need to ramp up too much at all. It does damage. It's pretty crazy. But you have some options. Arcane Fury, obviously this is a really good way to like boost the damage of it for the crit build, just because it's a good way for me to, I'm definitely always gonna crit at least once per throw, because it bounces around everywhere. And it's just on the off chance that like Condition Overload isn't proccing on any elemental statuses that are on the enemies. It kind of like fills that void and helps me get to like extreme ramping damages a lot quicker. And also, if you don't have Arcane Fury, because I know that it is a little expensive, and you feel, or if you do have it and you feel like your upfront damage is pretty good and you're not struggling to ramp up your damage, what you could do, and I think low-key it's a little bit better mathematically, I think, because Arcane Fury stacking on top of, what's it called, Condition Overload, I can definitely see some diminishing returns. You can throw in Arcane Crepuscular for more crit damage, and this is like strictly if you're on Wisp or anyone that's invisible and can use the Falcor. Giving you ability strength and final crit damage would be really nice. If you just want like more crit chance and pushing yourself into like red crits, consistent orange crits, and like 50 to 60% red crits, you can run Arcane Avenger. Flat 45% crit chance, low key is really good. And if you're on the STD build, you don't need an arcane. Like, you actually, melee influence is so broken with high status and like multiple elements, you legitimately, you don't need it. I promise you. Like, you can run whatever you want. And if you don't have like a Warframe build that can afford like just an arcane that can be swapped out constantly, run the STD build. Don't sweat it too much. If you really want to push the Falcor's damage, Arcane Fury, Arcane Avenger, and if you're on Wisp, Arcane Crepuscular would be like the 3 I would be considering. I think that's it for like external damage boosting. And if you're comboing and you're struggling a little bit, secondary dexterity is always really great, really helpful. You could also run primary dexterity, but I would only do that if you're going Falcor only and you have like a good setup to really push your crits. Otherwise, like, the trade-off there is kind of whack, you know, because you can really get a lot of damage with a nice arcane on your primary weapon. This build is goated. You guys are like gonna see in the video, like, this is absolutely goated, and this is fun, and I'm using this because I have the Riven. But if you don't want to build combo and you're lazy and you just want to throw out and smash with your primary weapon in the meantime, this is 100% the way to go. And I would even say, if you want to get a Riven and you roll high status chance, try throwing it down here. Might even be better. If, again, I am new to the game, I know I have a lot of hours at this point, but I'm still relatively new. This is kind of like my first actual, like, me just putting on things, seeing what it felt like. I haven't unlocked Sanctum yet. I'm trying to get enough points, so give me some time for that. And then I can do like proper testing videos. For now, I'll just be like showing off gameplay, but I think gameplay is still great because I do kind of push the content. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. And oh, the change I made here, if you are super curious, I had Molt augmented here, but then I kind of just realized, like, one of her biggest benefits is using her as a weapon platform and swapping this out for different weapons, or sorry, swapping this out for different ways to boost weapon damage is a lot more versatile. That's all. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.